Well, welcome everyone. Thanks for joining us. Really excited to have Aaron Rennert on the call today. Aaron is the Vice President of Sizzle International, and he's going to be talking to us today about the 90-day plan, building a successful sizzle business. So I forgot to introduce myself. My name's Katie Larking. Most of you know me. For those of you who don't, I'm a 5-star master here with Sizzle International in Australia. So let me hand it over to Aaron, and we love to hear your insights and thoughts about building a successful sizzle business.
Well, Katie, thank you so much. And for everybody that's on the call today, I really appreciate it, because it really is these types of events that people need to come to in order for them to continue on and to be kind of spurred along and to be a part of something bigger, and obviously to be a part of a great movement. And that's really what we're talking about. And I had an opportunity this past weekend to go to St. Augustine, Florida. It was not a bad idea at this time of year. It was 70 degrees there Fahrenheit, which for us was absolutely perfect, coming from about 25 to 35 degrees here in Salt Lake.
Wow.
Where it tends to get a lot of snow. So it was nice to be down there. It was great to visit with people. But one of the things that I recognized, and I talked to Kurt Fisnick about this earlier today, is that we spend a lot of time talking about, let's get together and let's train and let's develop and let's try to understand more about the products and get deeper into the conversations. But for those of you that are brand new to the business, for those of you that are fairly new, and obviously for those of you that have been around for a while, one of the things that I'm putting a big emphasis on this next year is to really look at doing more opportunity meetings. And not that you want to do less trainings, but that you really want to look at opportunity meetings. So Ray Hutchison, who's got a phenomenal organization here in America, really probably one of the biggest in America, he spent a lot of time talking about getting together and bringing some of our great leadership together and really doing a down and dirty. And I said, I won't come unless we do an opportunity meeting. I said, part of the goal is obviously to do everything we can to see if we can't build the business. Mm-hmm. And that was really, from my standpoint, one of the big pushes that I had to put in place was to get people to say, I want to come to an opportunity meeting. And I always tell people that opportunity meetings are fantastic because they're for the newest person, for a person like Katie that's been around for a number of years and that is a true seasoned professional. She really knows what she does on a daily basis. She understands the business, how to build a business, how to organize team events and opportunity meetings, trainings, and even just social time. But for a lot of people, the newest person is the one that's the most important person, in my opinion, because that newest person really needs to be embraced and really needs to be pulled in and tucked in, if you will. As my mom used to say when I was a little kid, let me go tuck you in. And that was really part of that safety or security that you wanted to feel. Well, over the course of time, we've gotten more involved heavily into the training aspect of the training side, and we've left alone a little bit of that opportunity side. And the key to business, especially this industry, is that the newest person, the newest people are the ones that are going to be the lifeblood of your organization. There are a lot of people, obviously, that are out there that do the right things on a daily basis, that build their business and keep in contact with their downlines and try to be supportive and organize calls and webinars and training events and conference calls, etc. But it's really that newest person that needs to understand, what do I need to do during those first 90 days in order for me to become successful in this business? And so I always tell people that the biggest step that somebody can take is really pretty risk-free, in my opinion. I mentioned this to Kurt earlier, and we were kind of laughing about it because I said, a lot of people get certainly uncomfortable. They're not sure exactly what to do. And so they want to get started, but again, they just need a little bit of help, a little bit of a nudge, a little bit of insight, a little bit of knowledge, etc. And so to get started, many people have to just take that first step. And so I told him earlier today that what's the risk? If you really think about it, and you think about ordering your first sizzle products that you've ever ordered in your entire life, and you said, I really want to get involved in the business. And let's say that the world changed all of a sudden in one day, and you just didn't have the time to put into it. Maybe you got a new job, maybe you got new hobby, whatever it may be, and all of a sudden you're off doing something else and you just don't have time to do the business. What is the worst thing that could happen? And I tell people this, the worst thing that could happen is you got a box of product that sits in the corner of your house, and until you use it, it's still your product. So you're really out nothing. You still have this incredible product. And so that's really what I always try to explain to people, is that it's not so much that what somebody may think of is, boy, I don't know. I mean, it's, you know, it's this big step. It's this big commitment that I have to make. Well, really the commitment is based on you and your terms. I can't make your commitment for you. I can't push you into something that you don't want to do. Many of us may have gotten involved in other things over the course of time that we may not have been overly excited about. But the fact is, it's still my decision. And so at the end of the day, I have to make the decision. How much time am I willing to invest? And how much time do I have to put into each day that I decide to do something? And I love what Jason Goff had mentioned. I may have mentioned this to you guys in the past, for those of you that have been on these calls. But Jason Goff, who's our global marketing director, he said one day, you know, it's funny, we have to make this business fun. Most of us have our day-to-day jobs. We go there from 8 to 5, 9 to 5. Maybe we work swing shift, maybe work at all night, wake up during the day and have our days, whatever it may be. But those jobs that we have are jobs that we have to obviously take care in consideration. And I always tell people, don't think about quitting your job today. There's no reason to. Get started, start building your base of income, start seeing some revenue come in. It's your own personal business. This is, you are a business owner if you start to get involved in this. And so as a result, I tell people again that it's the time that you're willing to invest. It's the time that you have to invest, that you need to make a decision on how much time you can put into it. And at the end of the day, after a long day, maybe you've been at work all day, the last thing you want to do is go back to work. Here we are Saturday morning for you guys. Yeah. And the last thing that you want to do is think about, let's go back to work. And so I even think about the same thing with my presentation. I want this to be educational and informative, but also a little bit light. It's a Saturday morning, folks. Yeah. You got to enjoy it. For those of you that are in Australia, for those of you that are in America right now on the call, guess what? It legitimately is Friday night. And so you are off to the races for the weekend. So anyways, the good news is that you have an opportunity to make some decisions. What do I want to do with the business? How long can I put into it? Meaning, you know, my days and hours per day. And then what do I expect to get out of it? So I always tell people you need to work backwards with your numbers, with your goals. And once you can understand what your ultimate goal is, and that goal can be shifting and changing. You know, I always say that people have that opportunity to make a big goal. And if it's not making you uncomfortable, you probably didn't make it big enough. And so you want to make a goal that's big enough, that gives you or allows you the opportunity to stretch yourself and to be a little bit out there and to show people, hey, you know what, I'm going to put this time and effort and energy into something. So make it worth it. I want to make a worthwhile effort, and I want to put my time and energy into something, then make it worth your time and energy to do it. So the first thing that I tell people is you've got to put together a game plan. There's not a person out there that doesn't put a strategy together, that doesn't have vision, strategy, direction. And one thing that I always have recommended, I go back to my days when I was with Atlanta Gas Light. My CEO was absolutely brilliant. As a matter of fact, she was the first one in a big utility company that was really an old boys network. And she was the first person that was made president of Atlanta Gas Light. She was then the first person that was made CEO of Atlanta Gas Light. And then she was the first chairperson of the board for Atlanta Gas Light as a female. So I say that because it was super important to me as well, because I love that fact that she had done so much with her life. She's one of the smartest people I've ever met in my life, business acumen wise, and just one of those standards that you put so up high that you want to try to put your expectations that high and try to achieve some level of semblance there. But it's really tough because she was very, very smart. But one of the things that she used to do is every 6 months we had a vision, strategy, and direction meeting. And you would think that us as executives and officers of the company, I was young at the time, so it was a great opportunity for me to learn. But you would think that many of us have the skills and the knowledge and the basis to really go off and take her direction for the year, maybe 2 years, 5 years, etc. But in her opinion, and I agree with this, it wasn't so much that she said, well, let's see what we can put together over the course of the next 6 months. It was, these are our visionary, our strategic, and our directives that we need to put in play that go down to the channels of our organization, and we need to help them understand what the game plan is so that everybody's on the same page. If we together work together with our upline, those people that have sponsored us or enrolled us into the business, and we let them know what our game plan is or work with them on the game plan, I can guarantee you that the game plan will actually be executed correctly and that you'll have success. If you think that you're just going to wing it, it probably won't work out as well. So I want you to know that you need to work with the Katies of the world, the Doc Fizzes of the world, the Jenny Lovetts of the world. I've got a bug that wants to annoy me here, but the different people that are here, and how they can help you achieve that semblance of success. I mean, again, when I was with Sandy Biltoff down, in New Zealand, and then obviously over in Brisbane, we had a great opportunity to talk. We spent a lot of time, she and I and Paul. We went to dinner one night, and there was that opportunity to chat about things, and notes were taken. And that's really the key, is that, what am I learning daily, and what am I absorbing daily, and what am I taking in and putting it in my heart, so that I can allow my heart to actually direct my words out of my mouth, not just my brain with, the thoughts and ideas, but truly this emotional mechanism that allows us to think about what it is that we really want. And with that type of purposeful thought process, we can actually put together a plan that's going to be very, very significant. So that game plan has to be something that is specific to you. You have to make that game plan. You have to put it together and do things that, again, might be a little bit out of your comfort zone. It might be picking up the phone, calling somebody. It may be doing some follow through. We talk about a lot the follow through or the follow up. Sometimes I like to say follow up is okay, but follow through is much more important, because the follow through means that I actually helped you achieve or execute on the plan. So a lot of those things are the things that we get started with. And so that's why I tell you, it's not a lot of risk. There's not a lot that you need to worry about in terms of getting started with the business. What you need to do is just get started. If you never start off on the starting line, you'll never get to the finish line. It's impossible for you to get there if you're afraid to even get started. I mentioned to Doc Fizz earlier, think about running a marathon, because this is a marathon. It's not a sprint, but you have to train daily to get to the point where you're able to run a marathon. I've always said, and I'll be the first guy to admit it, I'm not a runner. I don't want to be a runner. I am a short, stocky guy. My little legs have to do double time for everybody's normal gait. But the fact is that you have to train. So I've run 2 half marathons, maybe not quite run, but maybe a brisk jog. But the fact is that I finished them, I completed them, and it was great. It was a great accomplishment. But I trained and trained and trained and trained over time to get to that point where I was able to run it. I want you to think about this business is a marathon. It's a long-term thought process that goes into your day-to-day activities that all add up to the successes that you'll have in the future. Again, if you think about it from a marathon. I've got a good friend of mine that runs marathons, multiple marathons a year. He has a training regimen. He has things that he does on a daily and weekly basis and a monthly basis that he knows are able to track and measure, and time off, and long runs and shorter runs and sprint runs and all that kind of stuff, just to create endurance and create his fast twitch and his slow twitch muscles and all those wonderful things that come into play that none of us really care about. But the number one thing is that we think about the same thing with our mind, and our mind has to go through these same exercises in what we're trying to do and how we're trying to do it and how we think that we can actually put together the time and the effort and the energy. So once you've done that, you really identify what it is that you want to accomplish, and then you start working on you. Why are you here? What made you decide to come to this call today? What made you decide to wake up in the morning and say, you know what, I'm going to be on this call today. I've got a call, whatever time it is there right now. I've got a call. I know I've got to be there. I've got my people. I want to make sure they're there as well. And it's part of a process where you have to consciously think about what it is that you're doing, not subconsciously. Some of that comes natural, but it's the conscious decisions to get to where you want to be. So your why is a very, very big, important part. And I'd say integral, because the relationship between your why is really what, again, allows you to speak from here, and your story about why you got here. And so a lot of people have great stories about product. I heard some wonderful stories. There was a person in Florida this past weekend. His name is Evan Molovinsky, a great guy, young guy. I say young because I feel like I'm getting older, but he's a 40-year-old, and he had an interesting accident happen where he had a piece of glass that cut his Achilles tendon, which is that spot right on the back of your heel, if you will, up to your ankle. And what ended up happening is they repaired it, but unfortunately, it only repaired about 25% of that tendon. So the point is that he was out playing with his dog one day and trying to be a little ginger, but he stepped wrong. It snapped and went right up into his calf. He immediately fell to the ground, had to be taken in, get it, go into surgery and start working on getting it repaired. Well, he had Ray Hutchison, who he called up and said, listen, Ray, I know you've talked about all these great products. Is there anything that you might recommend that I could use that would help me with my healing process?
Right.
And Ray said, boy, do I ever. We've got Sizzle Ripped, a phenomenal product. We've got Fucoidan, which is absolutely amazing. And so those were the two products that he immediately started on and started using them religiously. And as he started using them, he found that he was actually accelerating his recovery process by leaps and bounds. As a matter of fact, his doctor told him it would take him about 4 months before he could start doing any type of physical exercise. After about 30 days, he was actually running on the treadmill. And now he's doing sprints. It's been about 3 months, he said. But the reason that I bring that up is that is the cool part about seeing somebody that's had an experience that allows them to see that experience come to play. And that's the story that comes along with it, is that he right here said, listen, I know these products work. They work for me, and I want them to work for others. And it kind of comes down to that point where once we know what we know, now it's time for us to go out and share. And so we have to take that first step. And so he was a great guy that came to the event. He came down from North Carolina, and while he was there, not only did he talk about his experience, his story, but he also had hit 1-star master in 21 days.
Oh, wow.
And so
Great.
He was super excited about it. And he said, I said, what did you do? How'd you do it? And he said, I don't even know. I just was so excited about the product and about the opportunity that I shared both hand in hand. He said, I didn't just go to people with the product. I actually went there and talked about the opportunity as well. And so I think that's part of what we need to do, is we need to think about, we have this incredible opportunity in front of us. We have a chance to change people's lives. We have an opportunity to show them how to do it. All we have to do is actually go out and do it. So when we talk about that, there's really this great relationship of trying to identify who are our first 3 people that we want to talk to. And so we talk a little bit about this 3x3 matrix that some people talk about. And so when I think about the 3x3, I really think about, I want to identify those first 3 people that I want to work with. That's manageable. I'm new in the business. I need to know that there's a lot of things that I need to do that are day to day and that are going to be the things that are important for me to build my business. So 3 people are really manageable. I know I can work with those people. Well, if I look at the first 3 people, my focus is on trying to get my return on my fast start bonus. But I want to just kind of shift gears past the fast start, because there's a lot of opportunity with the fast start bonus as well. There's the retail commission that comes into play. But with new people, I don't want to go that far. I want to stop at the 3x3. With a minimum 50-point purchase, 50 PB, I actually open up my opportunity floodgates, because I get paid down 3 levels, 7% on each level. And that's it. That's all. So is that on that's not a huge barrier of entry, in my opinion.
No,
it's
not at all.
Yeah, it's a simple way. If people just want to get started with the H bill, you've covered your qualification cost, you're going to get paid down 3 levels. So the first step is identify those 3 people that you want to work with. The second step is help them find their first 3. And once you do that, if you've got 3 people on your first level and you help your 3 people do exactly what you did, now you've got 9 people on your second level. If you help them do, which everybody now working together in concert can help them find their first 3 people, all of a sudden you've got 27 people on your third level. That's $52 on your first level if they're spending about 250 points a month or average of that, or CV if you want to kind of look at that way. But if you've got that, and then you've got 157.50 on your second level with those 9 people, and then that third level with about 27 people, puts you at about $472.50. So again, this isn't perfect. It's not, again, you guys might have a little different CB and that's fine. But the reason that I bring that up is that if you look at that from the standpoint of, if I could just cover your product for free, if I could just make sure that what you're doing on a daily basis covers that cost of the product, make sure that you cover the cost of your qualification, we've done our job, right? But if I can help you get a lifestyle change, a little bit of additional income in your household, it starts to change everything and becomes magic for people. And so that's really what I want people to see, is that there's an opportunity. And with fast start bonuses and with the $682, you got 39 people in your organization now. All of a sudden, you're starting to see that there's a huge opportunity. And that is up to you to grab it, just to be a part of it, and to embrace it. Because once that starts happening, it doesn't end. It doesn't stop. What happens is it continues to build, and the depth grows, and your organization grows, and new people come on board, and you're starting to work and develop new leadership within your organization. And that's really where those next steps happen. But I don't get into that yet, and I don't want to get into that. I want to stay with just that 3x3. I get paid 3 levels down. I'm a brand new person. I'm buying an age pill every month. I'm doing what I call the cellular detox. I'm giving my body the ability to get the cells all cleaned up so I can have a cellular detox and prepare it for this enormous amount of nutrition that's going to come in. It's no different than doing a great detox for the gut and the lower and upper intestines. It's not, you've got the villi that gets plaqued up and all kinds of gunk gets in there, and the nutrition can't get in. Katie knows this better than I do. But the fact is that nutrition is super important to get into the body and to literally for the absorption. Well, guess what? Your cells are the same. There's plaquing, there's cellular gunk inside there, garbage. And so all of that cellular detox that has to happen with the age pill now opens up your body to all kinds of wonderful energy that it hadn't felt maybe in years, depending on your age, because your body continues to take on more and more of these free radicals and on and on. So a lot of discussion around the product, but you guys can do your product training at a separate time. What I really want you to think about is that you've got these big events coming up in January and February, and even into March when somebody else may make a big announcement. So what I want you to know is that I've put out a sheet over the last little while. It's just basically a meme, and it's called Arrive with 5. Okay. And I was talking to Tom Sr. about this, and I was telling Tom, I said, it's interesting because a lot of times people show up at these meetings, but they're the same people that show up at every meeting. And so you see the same people, and they're taking notes feverishly, and they're listening, and they're absorbing all this information, but they're always there, but they're always alone. And it was interesting because Tom told me this funny story one time. He said he had gone when his previous company was getting super large. They were doing all these meetings downtown Salt Lake City, a little bit of ways from where I'm at today in our office. And he said, unfortunately, one of the weeks that they were going to go use the ballroom, it wasn't available. So they had to move the meeting out a couple miles outside of the downtown Salt Lake City area. And he said, as he was walking in, he thought he saw some people that were going to his meeting. And he said, he walked in and they said, oh, wait, what are you doing here? And he said, well, I'm coming to this meeting for our company. And they said, oh, boy, yeah, we're not with your company anymore. We just couldn't make it. And Tom said to them, the reason that you couldn't make it at my company is the same reason why you won't make it at this company. You're walking in alone. And so I want you to think about that and make the gravity of that situation large inside your thought process, because what Tom stated is the fact. If we're not bringing people to these opportunities, if we're not embracing them and giving them an opportunity to be exposed to what we have, you're never going to grow your business, but you have to be willing to talk about it and have that conversation. So we really want to start working on the Arrive with 5. And I think that can go fast and aggressive throughout your organization. But I did tell Kurt, I said, look, one thing that's fun, you can go ahead and put together a door price for those people that actually show up with their 5 and give them a door price. He said, you know what, Aaron, I'm going to do that. So why don't you guys plan on knowing that Kurt Fisnick has said that when he comes down to Australia and New Zealand, he's going to have you say, I will arrive with 5. And when you come and you spend some time with him, or if you send him the list of 5 people that you're going to bring to those events, he will reward you just for doing the basics. And it's really for you, but let's give everybody that little carrot that they love having out there. And I think that's part of the biggest thing, is that we have an opportunity to help people understand getting that return on investment, getting the product for free, getting that lifestyle change. Those are all kind of common conversation pieces. But how do we do it? How do we put the game plan together? And how do we really give ourselves that opportunity to be a little differentiated between us and many of the other companies out there because of our vastly superior products? It's easy sometimes to say, well, yeah, I've got this. But the fact is, one of our greatest products is the opportunity. And so if people understand that opportunity, I think we can have a lot of fun with this. So I'm actually excited. We've got Mauer Mountain that'll be coming up in July of this coming 2020 year. We've got the dates are fixed right now, 16th, 17th, and 18th of July. Oh, wow. And we're going to do it a little bit differently this year, by the way, Katie, and everybody. We're actually going to go back to the way we did it in 2016. We're going to do a leadership summit. And so we're going to have a lot of people come in from around the world. They're going to come in and spend some time with us. Those that want to come to Mauer Mountain, it'll be a separate type of event the day before, which will be a Thursday. But the Friday and Saturday will actually be at the convention center here in Provo, Utah. It'll be a great opportunity to have breakout sessions, and then a convention style next day on Saturday with a gala that night, rewarding and recognizing those people for the accomplishments that they've made over the course of the last year. And I'm super excited about it because we'll see people coming in from all over the world that are excited about the opportunity, that want to learn as much as they can, and then take that energy back to their markets and really change the way that they do business. So with that being said, I hope that each one of you have taken notes. I hope that each one of you have taken some time to think about what it is that you can do in your personal business, because again, it's yours. It's not mine. It's not Katie's, it's not Doc Fizz, not Sandy's, not anybody. It's your business. You have to take responsibility for it. Whatever you expect to get out of it, put the energy and effort into it. I guarantee you are going to have success. I can guarantee it. But if you don't put the energy into it, and you don't put the effort into it, and you just hope by osmosis that it's going to happen, it won't. I guarantee that as well. So with that being said, Katie, I know you may have had a couple of questions. We're at our 30-minute mark. So anything
Great.
you want to ask, I'm ready.
Okay, awesome. Well, that was fantastic. I've been busy taking notes for sure. It's always good to, I mean, we've heard a lot of that information before, but there's a lot of new points you bring in. And also it's really important to keep hearing it because, you forget the obvious things that you need to be doing as well. And the obvious things to be communicating to others as well. Particularly around, I love the vision and strategy when you talked about, that's really important to get together and have that time with your distributors and new people coming into the business. But so that's fantastic. And I wanted to mention too, since we're doing a business call, that there's a great incentive this month, the 3 signups. If you bring on 3 people, that's 150 PV, you get $75 worth of product. Is that correct?
That is correct. So the cool thing is that we did the Dash for Cash. We saw a lot of great winners. We did a lot of drawings, and it was fun. It was kind of a fun way to do it. But then we also recognize that there are people that want to go out, identify their first 3 people, or identify 3 more people, bring them into their business, and really show them how to get started. So we thought, well, you know what? Let's create a little bit more buzz and a little bit more incentive. And so we threw $75 in product credit on top of that. And in my opinion, it's already taken off. We're seeing a lot of great people that are hitting those threes. Some people that have hit 9, some people that have hit 12. So as a result, you're starting to see those numbers pop up. And for every 3 they get, $75 in product credit gives you a lot of samples to go out and start working with people.
Yeah, fantastic. And of course, it's free signups this month still for distributors. Yeah.
Correct. Yes. So that's super cool.
Yeah. And then the Bongo skincare special that's running at the moment. So Tom Senior announced that yesterday, which is a great incentive. You get the free product. You can get a free skin do or a free Actify if you order the Transfusium. And if you order the Transfusium and the Rapid Repair Night Cream, you get a free Actify and a free skin do.
So yes. And one of the things that we recognized is that sometimes when you have a lot of great products, and especially supplements, you end up forgetting about some of the other wonderful products. an incredibly great skincare product specifically. So Liesel and I and Tom Sr. were talking the other day, and Liesel just said, Dad, I really want to focus on skincare again. And so she started talking about it. We started talking about it. Tom Sr. said, let's do some fun things. We're getting close to the holidays. Let's give people the ability to get some of these products so that they can start using them and become familiar with them, as well as start seeing the benefits from them. And guess what? Our first 8 sales were out of this world, amazing, enormous, incredible. I have no other adjectives. It took off like crazy. But it was exciting for us, Katie, and for everybody on the call. It was exciting for a couple of reasons, but the main reason was these skincare products are absolutely sensational. And if you use them on a daily basis, there are all kinds of wonderful things that are happening. And so Tom Sr. said, I want people to become familiar again with them. I want to talk about them again. I want to give them the opportunity to expose them. Liesel, of course, was like, yes, let's go out and let's talk about this stuff. So again, it just gave us another reason to talk about them now.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate you getting on the call. And thanks everyone for listening, or if you're watching the recording, I appreciate you taking the time to join us. So I hope you have a fantastic weekend. We look forward to seeing you on again soon, Aaron.
Hey, thank you very much. Everybody have a great weekend. Look forward to chatting soon.
Bye.
Goodbye.